Hello, Keystone community. I'm Mr. Bastianello, science teacher, and I'm going to discuss some of the traditions of Halloween and the science related to them. Let's get started. Orange and black are considered Halloween colors because orange is associated with the fall harvest and black is associated with darkness and death. What exactly is color? Well, colors are simply the range of visible light of the electromagnetic spectrum that our eyes can see, with wavelength representing a different color. Interestingly, the color black is what you perceive when all other light wavelengths have been absorbed. In other words, black is what we see when there is no color. Jack-o'-lanterns originated in Ireland, where people placed candles in hollowed out turnips to keep away spirits and ghosts. A pumpkin is a gourd-like squash of the genus Cucuberta and typically have a thick orange or yellow shell, creased from the stem to the bottom, containing the seeds and pulp. The seeds and pulp, of course, is what you have to dig out before you make your jack-o'-lantern. Halloween was brought to North America by immigrants from Europe who would celebrate the harvest around a bonfire, share ghost stories, sing, dance, and tell fortunes. Bonfires give off light and heat radiation. Radiation is energy that is transmitted in the form of rays, waves, or particles. Nothing says Halloween like dressing up in costumes and going trick-or-treating. A common treat given out are Tootsie Rolls. Tootsie Rolls were the first wrapped penny candy in America. Tootsie Roll is a brand of chewy candy, and it's a form of candy that has been manufactured in Chicago, Illinois since 1896. In 1896, its founder wanted a chocolate candy that would not melt easily in the heat and would be an economically artificial alternative to traditional chocolates. Both physical and chemical changes occur while cooking Tootsie Rolls. Some physical changes include the melting of the butter and the chocolate. Some chemical changes include the sugar caramelizing throughout the cooking. Vampires are mythical beings who defy death by sucking the blood of humans. There really are so-called vampire bats, but they're not from Transylvania. They live in Central and South America and feed on the blood of cattle, horses, and birds. Although blood-sucking vampire bats are real, they mostly only live in Latin America. Most North American bats are insect eaters, feeding on everything from moths to mosquitoes to beetles. They use echolocation to find their prey, which is kind of like radar, rather than using eyesight. They tend to have beady little eyes and weird-shaped faces, which makes them look scary. But those faces help capture sound waves bouncing off of prey and other objects and funnel those waves to their ears. Many bat species are entering into hibernation in caves or hollow trees at Halloween, so they're not likely to be seen, but some will fly south for the winter, just like birds as well. Another popular Halloween monster is a werewolf. Signs of a werewolf are unibrow, hair all over, and long canine teeth. Werewolf syndrome is an unusual and rare genetic disorder which is scientifically known as hypertrichosis, in which the body is covered with hair, including the face and other parts. Lion the Lion-Faced Man was a famous person who had this hypertrichosis. The howl of a werewolf can cause heart-pounding terror. However, let's talk about actual wolves. People have either vilified or glorified wolves throughout history, but in reality, gray wolves are top predators. They control deer and other prey populations, as well as other predators lower down on the food chain. The gray wolf population lives in limited regions of the United States and Canada in wilderness areas. They go out of their way to avoid humans. By Halloween time, they are in the process of growing their thick winter coats to guard against winter's bitter temperatures. Another popular mascot of Halloween are black cats. The Celts believed that Halloween, which back then was known as Samhain, was the night that the veil between the spirit realm and the living was at its thinnest, allowing spirits and other supernatural forces to descend and cause mischief or harm. To the ancient Celts, people were transformed into cats as a punishment for their bad deeds. Those unfortunate enough to be cursed by black magic were also turned into cats, particularly black cats. Cats have superior low-light vision, and because of this, they tend to hunt at the twilight hours of dusk and dawn. Witches were originally ancient people that others looked to for wisdom and medicine. It was believed that witches could turn into cats, again, more black cat connections here, and other animals, such as bats. Although commonly seen flying through the air on brooms, this really wouldn't work. Brooms don't have wings and thus cannot generate the lift to allow the rider to glide through the air. A key ingredient in witch's brew is usually a toad, but toads are more than that. They are important environmental indicators. All amphibians are susceptible to environmental toxins because of their sensitive skin. They are usually the first species to die out in polluted areas. If you have healthy toad populations in your area, that's a good sign. And no, you cannot catch warts from touching a toad. Toads are voracious pest predators in the warm months, but go into underground hibernation around Halloween and won't emerge until spring. Another popular mascot of Halloween are spiders. Spiders with their 8 legs and multiple eyes are creatures right out of nightmares, and their sticky webs and venomous fangs don't help their public image either. But even though they might look scary, spiders are actually extremely beneficial predators of all sorts of insect pests. And there's only 3 species in the US that have venom considered strong enough to hurt people: the black widow, the brown recluse, and the hobo. And really, spider bites from these are very rare. By Halloween, female spiders are guarding egg sacs, which hold the next generation of spiders. Another creature associated with Halloween is the owl. The nocturnal habits, glowing eyes, and utterly silent flight make these predatory birds the epitome of eeriness. It turns out that all these things are simply adaptations for survival. Owls are nocturnal to avoid competition for prey with day-flying hawks. Their giant eyes and the fringed feathers that make no noise when the bird is flying allow them to hunt stealthily in the darkness. Well, there you have it, some of the interesting science behind the traditions of Halloween. Thanks for watching. Stay curious.